I want to bring in Mark Tapscott with the Washington Stand. He's our senior congressional analyst. Mark, thank you for joining us today on Washington Watch.
Great to be here, Jody. How are you?
I am doing well. Great to see you. All right, let's continue this discussion. Congress is coming back. They're all walking in the Capitol even as we speak right now. A lot on their plates over the next few days and months, not the least of which is the economy, is the budget. Give us a 30,000-foot perspective on what they're going to be dealing with.
A 30,000-foot perspective might be very similar to jumping out of the airplane and seeing where you land with the budget.
I have a parachute.
Yeah, well, you're fortunate. The problem is Congress has not passed the 12 major appropriations bills that need to be passed by September 30th, which is the end of the fiscal year. They come back from the August recess. They have, I think, 9 in the Senate and 10 in the House that have to be passed. And if they don't pass them, they will end up with yet another continuing resolution, which, of course, is that big fat monstrosity that nobody knows what it is when they vote for it. And then we later find out that it, it was full of things that most of us don't like. So that's the basic issue. And it looks pretty grim at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's been forever. I know when I was there, we dealt with this over and over and over, year after year after year, and we'd always land back on a continuing resolution that basically is status quo. I would think under the current administration and leadership that we would at least have a chance of actually getting some budget legislation across the finish line. Are you saying that, in your opinion, that's pretty doubtful?
Well, I think it's always doubtful with Congress on the budget, but I think they have made some progress. I think 9 of the 12 bills in the House have passed through the subcommittee and been reported to the main committee, and they'll end up on the floor, or most of them will. But then, even once they pass the House and the Senate, you still have to resolve the differences between them, which I'm sure you served on conference committees at one time or another during your tenure. And that's a pretty thorny process as well. So it's going to be tough. I think Speaker Johnson is probably the guy who is most suited to bringing some order out of all of this chaos. I'm not so sure about the Senate. If we do have a shutdown, it will be called the Schumer shutdown, and justly so. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because it is true. The House has done a relatively good job in getting some of those different things passed. The Senate, as usual, is just slowing everything down. So let me ask you this. We have a lot of fiscal conservatives on the right that have been doing, it appears to me at least, everything they can to try to move our whole budget and the process further to the right, looking at $37 trillion of debt. They're trying to move the needle. Are they being successful in that, in your opinion?
You know, it's 2 steps forward here, 1 step forward back, and 1 step sideways on the budget reform issues. Interesting that you bring that up because I'm working on a story now about there is a move, which you're probably familiar with. The $36 trillion figure for the national debt actually is a very specialized measurement that is used only by the government. If we accounted the government the same way we require General Motors or your corner grocery store to account, the actual national debt is more like $150 trillion. And the first step towards getting through a problem is to admit that you've got it. And one of the biggest problems that we have in the budget is nobody knows for sure how much we really do owe who, and we've got to get a handle on that.
Wow, that is stunning information.
You've
been covering Congress and Capitol Hill for a long time. Do you think they're going to be able to get anywhere? Do you sense anything different now than what you've seen over the years that you've been covering?
I tell you, Jody, that is a question that I ask myself pretty regularly because, as I think you and I have discussed, I first came to Washington as a President Reagan appointee and then became a journalist. And things are very different today, but I sense a very optimistic surge with a lot of people. There's an awful lot of people in this town that recognize the way we've been doing it for the last 30 years is just not working. And there's a lot of differences that have to be resolved, and I have a lot of confidence that in the long run, the American system is going to work, especially as we seek the Lord's guidance in all of this. Because after all, the country that prays together is going to ultimately pay off its bills and prosper together.
Yep. Well, that is, I think, I'm so glad you brought that up because that really is a great way for us to end the program today with a call on our viewers and listeners to pray. I mean, this is, Congress has their hands full. They've got their hands full. And at the heart of it all is a spiritual battle that they need the wisdom of God. We need the good hand of God to navigate us through these times, not just another piece of legislation. Mark Tapscott, Senior Congressional Analyst at the Washington Stand, thank you for joining us.